Hello everyone, welcome to this session. Myself Dr. Archana Shukla from Faculty of Library and Information Science, School of Social Sciences, IGNOU. Today we are going to discuss about criteria of evaluation for reference sources. In our earlier sessions, we have already discussed about criteria of evaluation in general. Today we are going to concentrate specifically on each type of reference source like dictionary, encyclopedia, yearbook, etc. As we know that evaluation of information sources is very important for any library, because all information given in any source that is always not reliable, authentic, and as librarians it is our responsibility to find reliable and authentic information for our users. We have discussed about the checklist by which we are evaluating the sources like past record, authority, scope, treatment, arrangement, special features, format. So, this checklist is applicable to all the sources, but we have to check some specific points also according to the type of reference source. So, today we will see all these reference sources one by one, starting from bibliographies, abstracting and indexing periodicals. As far as past records are concerned, for bibliographies, the question of past record does not arise, because bibliographies are not published continuously. It applies to indexing and abstracting periodicals, which are published periodically at regular intervals and generally continue for long period of time. For the purpose of selection, the past record may be examined to see whether there have been frequent changes in the periodicity or frequent interruptions in the publication, etc. So, this past record will help you to know about the periodicity, frequency and regularity of the publication. Then comes the authority. In case of authority, the publisher and sponsor are to be examined, means you are going to analyze the publisher and sponsor of that publication. If they are famous, then further evaluate that publication. The problem will arise when they are not famous, they are not much known. In that case, you have to analyze the publication thoroughly. In case of bibliographies, the problem will arise if the bibliography is recent or not. Abstracting and indexing periodicals with international scope are usually costly publications, as we know. If these periodicals are bought by less known publishers or sponsors, adequate care has to be taken before finally selecting the periodical for a library. So, we have to know about the credibility of the publisher and the sponsor of that publication. Then comes the scope. The scope of bibliographies also varies from publication to publication. For example, the scope of Indian science abstract is national and that of chemical abstracts is international. Many bibliographies covers various types of documents in diverse languages. For example, chemical abstract covers journal articles, patent specifications, technical reports, conference proceedings, monographs, reviews, dissertations, etc. in about 50 languages of the world. Then comes the treatment. In case of abstracting periodicals, we may see that the abstract may be informative or indicative. Its coverage may be exhaustive or selective. The same is applicable to an indexing periodical also. So, we have to see which kind of abstract we want, informative abstract or indicative abstract. Depending upon that, we have to choose the publication. Similarly, in case of arrangement, The arrangement of entries varies from bibliography to bibliography and from indexing periodicals to abstracting periodicals. Sometimes the arrangement is alphabetical, sometimes the arrangement in case of abstracting and indexing periodical, it is subject wise also. Then coming to the special features. When talking about bibliographies, some bibliographies provided indexes, but these indexes also vary from bibliography to bibliography. Author index, subject index are quite common in case of these bibliographies. Apart from these, substance index, place name index, patent index are also provided in these publications. Most abstracting and indexing periodicals, they are published from abroad, means not from India, they are published from outside, and as I said earlier also they are very costly publications. So, it becomes very difficult for a single library to subscribe such costly publications. Hence, for this type of publications, it is advisable to have a consortium for subscribing such kind of costly publications. By this consortium, the library will get the benefit of the periodicals at a lesser cost, means a group of libraries, they are subscribing these costly publications from one platform. Then other source today we are showing is dictionaries. In case of dictionaries, first we have to judge the past records. As we know that most dictionaries of the world have got a past records, they are renowned, they are known by their name like Oxford Dictionary, Random House Dictionary, Collins Dictionary, Webster's Dictionary. So, these many dictionaries have started in a modest way and gradually become more voluminous. In case of authority as related to dictionaries, the authority of our dictionary is judged from the history of the publisher and the lexicographers and editors. The publishers has the compilation, they are compiling the dictionaries, and if the lexicographers and editors, they are well known, highly qualified and well experienced, then the selection of the dictionary becomes easy for the library professionals. In relation to scope, generally the scope of the dictionary is judged by its coverage. A dictionary, apart from common words, includes some scientific and technical terms also, terms belonging to other subjects, idioms and phrases, colloquial words, obsolete words, slangs, etc. So, we have to see the coverage, what the dictionary covers. Then comes the arrangement. In general cases, the entries of these dictionaries, they are either letter by letter or word by word. The concise dictionary, Oxford Dictionary, which is known by the name of COD, in this dictionary the arrangement is letter by letter. Then comes the word treatment. This is the unique feature for dictionaries, because this thing we do not find in other publications. Here we take into account spellings, pronunciation, syllabification, part of speech, inflection, definition, quotation, synonyms and antonyms, subject, usage level, phrases, derivatives, etymology, gender, etc. So, whether these aspects are dealt in that dictionary or not. Then in case of dictionaries, spellings are also very important. So, we have to, while evaluating the dictionary, we have to see the spelling part also. In English language, as we know, American and British spellings are there. Dictionaries published in UK and Commonwealth countries, usually they use British spellings, and those who are published from America, they use American spellings, but in certain cases this is not applicable, but usually they are following the same pattern. So, we have to see which kind of dictionaries means which kind of spellings we want, whether British English spelling or American English spelling. So, we have to judge the dictionary accordingly. Then comes the special features. These differ from dictionary to dictionary. Generally, these dictionaries, what they are doing, they are providing something additional, and these additional things are known as special features of the dictionary, like guide to use the dictionary, list of abbreviations, list of idioms and phrases. These things are known as the special features of the dictionary. So, you have to check whether something additional apart from the dictionary is available or not. Then comes the revision part. That is also very important, because we know every now and then new words are coming up. Hence, keeping a printed dictionary updated is very difficult task. Usually, new edition of dictionaries are issued after long intervals. So, while subscribing or purchasing any dictionary, we have to check whether the dictionary is having any revision policy or not. So, all these features of dictionary will not be available in a single dictionary. So, you have to check which feature you want in your dictionary. For example, a dictionary may give definition of words and not the synonyms. Another may include only the words, not the idioms and phrases. When there are options, we can use the checklist and decide which one is to be purchased for our library according to the need of our users. Then comes the another important publication, that is encyclopedia. Encyclopedias, as we know that these are generally costly publications. The number of encyclopedias are also many. In case of multi-volume general encyclopedias, past record, authority, scope, treatment and arrangement are almost same as dictionaries. Here, the most important feature of encyclopedia is an index. An index is an indispensable part of an encyclopedia. Why? Because we know in these encyclopedias, they are so voluminous, they are in multi volumes. So, for easy searching of information, index is must for a good encyclopedia. Then special features. These encyclopedias, they are also having some special features. For example, the new Webster's International Encyclopedia has a separate section of maps and an index of place names which are figuring in the map. And it is also having illustrative survey of world history and other information related with Declaration of Independence of US. So, these things are covered in this famous encyclopedia. Then comes the next publication, that is yearbook and almanacs. In case of yearbook and almanacs, when we are checking about the past record, there are many yearbooks in the world which are coming out for a long time, such as Statesman yearbook, which is published by Macmillan, Europa yearbook, which is published by Europa, Whitaker's Almanac, which is published by Whitaker, and Indian Reference Annual, which is published by Publication Division. All these yearbooks have earned a name, they are famous in the world, and any library without any hesitation will procure these famous yearbooks and almanacs. When talking about the scope of these publications, the scope also varies from yearbook to yearbook. They may be international, regional or national in scope. Depending upon the requirement of the users of our library, the library staff, they decide which yearbook is to be purchased for the library. Then comes the treatment. As we know, a huge amount of matter is condensed within a yearbook or almanac. As a result, information given in most cases is brief in case of yearbooks as compared to encyclopedias. However, the information given in a yearbook is updated every year, which cannot be done in an encyclopedia. Then comes the arrangement. Most yearbooks and almanacs do not fall under the category of these traditional kind of publications. Why? Because they follow alphabetical arrangement, but in case of yearbooks there are chapters and these chapters are arranged according to their topics. So, in many cases that traditional alphabetical arrangement they do not follow. Then comes the special features. Special features means the specialties that are there in that publication. For example, India a reference annual provides information only about India. It does not have practically any special features. On the other hand, Manorama yearbook not only provides information about India, but also about different countries of the world. In addition, it provides information about 100 books, 100 literary characters, 100 eminent persons, a dictionary of 600 terms, 500 places of interest and other things. These things are additional in case of Manorama yearbook. Then comes the another important publication, that is directory. While evaluating a directory, when we consider past record, we know that some directories are coming out for a long time. For example, Ulrich's International Periodical Directory, which is published by Bowker, and World of Learning, which is published by Europa. Such directories, they have earned a name for themselves. They are having a reputation. Not many directories appear every year. Usually they appear after short or long intervals. If several editions of a directory has already come out, then it gives us an indication that the directory is popular. If required by the library users, then such type of directories may be acquired for the library users. Then comes the authority. As we know, generally directories are bought out by well-known publishers, sometimes government bodies, institutions, associations. So, the authoritativeness of a directory can be known from the corporate body bringing out that directory. For example, Universities Handbook is bought out by Association of Indian Universities, New Delhi. One can take it for granted that the information contained in the directory will be authentic because it is published by such a reputed institution. Then comes the scope. In case of directories, most directories are generally devoted to a particular subject like telephone directories, library directories, periodical directories, etc. From geographical coverage point of view, they may be international and national. In case of compilation of these directories, our directories usually compiled on the basis of replies to questionnaire mailed to the concerned persons or institutions. This method ensured a great degree of authenticity of information. When checking about the treatment of directory, it differs from directory to directory. For example, the information given on a periodical is much more in Ulrich International Periodical Directory compared to Directory of Indian Scientific Periodicals. So, we have to see whether we want to purchase periodical directory or telephone directory or any other type of directory. Then coming to the arrangement. The arrangement of directories also differ. For example, the entries in Directory of Indian Scientific Periodicals is arranged according to UDC class numbers, and on the other hand, entries in Ulrich International Periodical Directory is arranged under subject heading, which are alphabetical in order. So, we have to check the arrangement also. Then comes the information content of the entry, means how much information is provided in an entry. It also differs according to the type of a directory. The information content of a telephone directory is name of the person, institution, organization, address and the telephone number. On the other hand, an entry in an institutional directory may contain much more information such as name, address, telephone number, email address, fax number, year of foundation of the institution, name of the head of the institution, staff strength, brief history of the institution, objectives, functions, achievements, publications, library and other type of facilities available in that particular institution. So, we have to check which type of entries are available in that particular directory, whether they are sufficient for our information requirement or not. Then comes the indexes. Generally, in case of telephone directories, no index is there. Many directories in which the entries are provided in alphabetical order, they usually provide indexes to ensure easy location of information in the directory. Then there are special features also in case of directories. Some directories have special features. For example, Ulrich International Periodical Directory includes information on abstracting and indexing services, money symbols and list of periodicals that has ceased publication. So, we have to check what type of special features are available in that particular directory. Some limitations are also there in case of these directories. Generally, directories are compiled on the basis of information obtained from the concerned person, institution, organization, etc. Sometimes some person, institutions or organization, they do not provide the required information. As a result, either the particular entry is dropped from the directory or an old entry is given with backdated information. A large number of directories are not updated annually. This allows entry to get backdated. Because of many constraints, many directories fail to become exhaustive. So, we have to check for these limitations also, whether the directory is updated or backdated. We have to check this thing. Then comes our geographical sources. Geographical sources usually comprise of geographical dictionaries, geographical encyclopedias, then gazetteers, guidebooks, atlases, maps and globes. At times a gazetteer has termed as a geographical dictionary also. For example, Webster's Geographical Dictionary is out an international gazetteer. In a geographical dictionary, you will find the definition of geographical terms such as island, river, valley and mountain. Librarians in general do not consider gazetteer to find the definition of geographical terms. On the other hand, you will find in a gazetteer the description of specific places, rivers, valleys and mountain. It is to be noted that great deal of geographical information is found in general encyclopedia. Encyclopedic dictionaries like Random House and some of the information are available on World Wide Web also. So, we have to check what type of information we are looking for. First, we will evaluate regarding the past sources. Many publication houses in the world have earned a name as publishers of gazetteers like Columbia University Press, in case of guidebooks, Forders, in case of atlases and maps, Hammond and Rand and Maclay, etc. They are publishing standard quality geographical sources for many decades and centuries. If any of these publishers they bring out a new geographical reference book, it will be considered of value. Then comes the authority. For example, if we take Columbia pin code gazetteer of the world, this gazetteer has been bought out by the geographical research staff of Columbia University Press in cooperation with the American Geographical Society. So, needless to say, the gazetteer is considered, this Columbia pin code gazetteer of the world is considered as one of the topmost gazetteers of the world. In case of gazetteers, date is also very important. Throughout the world, different type of geographical changes occur around the year. Backdated geographical source will not be able to include the latest changes. Hence, for geographical sources, date is an important checkpoint. Then comes the scope. The scope of geographical dictionaries and encyclopedia is universal. However, the scope of gazetteers, guidebooks, atlases and maps usually relate to the areas which they cover. You will find guidebooks covering cities and maps covering villages also. It is to be checked whether the book adheres to its stated objectives or not. So, we have to check this while evaluating the geographical sources. Then comes the treatment and limitations. International gazetteers are mostly selective. Guidebooks, atlas and maps, they all are selective in nature. For example, a guidebook covering India as a whole cannot record all hotels or all tourist places of India. Similarly, in a map or atlas of India, you can find only important places. In case of arrangement in geographical dictionaries and international gazetteers, the arrangement is usually alphabetical. In state and district gazetteers, maps and atlases, the arrangement may not be alphabetical. So, it depends upon the type of the geographical source. Then some items of information are also there. They provide definition of geographical terms, they provide name, variant forms of that name, pronunciation, population, geographic and political location, altitude, trade, industry, agriculture, minerals and other natural resources, irrigation work, river lands, communication, history and many other things related to that particular place, history and culture of that place. Usually guidebooks include information when to go, how to go, what to see, where to stay, where to shop, etc. So, this way atlas and maps will also be colorful. So, we have to check whether all these items are covered in that particular geographical source or not. While checking the items of information, you can find the strength or weaknesses of that source. Then comes the special features. In all geographical sources, black and white and colorful maps are usually provided. The more the number of maps, the more useful will be the source. This should be kept in mind while selecting a geographical source. In case of geographical sources, format is also very important. Map, atlas and globes, they are usually produced in color. Maps in many cases are of big size and meant for hanging on the wall. Usually these maps are stored in the form of rolls. Oversized maps provided with books are usually folded. Atlas almost in all cases are oversized. Special shelves are needed to store these oversized publication. Globe is also there. So, we have to have separate type of shelves in libraries to store these type of publications. We know that geographical sources are of various types. Even for small libraries, geographical sources like maps, atlas and globes are necessary. Using the checkpoints, if right sources are selected, they will be highly useful for the users. Then comes the biographical sources. Biographical sources are also of various types. Biographical dictionaries are most important. These dictionaries are published as who's who was who, and biographical dictionary, etc. In the case of selection of biographical sources, the problem of choice arises only when there is more than one source, but in many cases only single kind of source is available. In such situation, there we are not having any alternative. So, the library has to procure the source if there is a real need. At present, for example, there is no current who's who of librarians in India. If such a biographical source is sought out by many, librarians would like to go for it, since something is better than nothing. In case of past record of biographical sources, some publishers in the world such as Wilson, Europa, Adam and Charles Blake, G&C Merriam have excelled in bringing out biographical sources. They are bringing out biographical sources since long, some of them at regular intervals also. If such a publisher brings out a new biographical source, it is expected that the source will be of good quality. Then comes the authority of these publications. The reputation of the sponsor, publisher, biographer, etc. needs to be taken care while selecting these biographical sources. The scope of biographical sources varies, as some are very brief in nature and some are detailed in nature. Method of selection also important in case of biographical sources, like biographical dictionary, they are sometimes journal and sometimes selective in nature. The criteria of selection is very important. A criteria of selection is an important checking element for a biographical source. Method of compilation, we have to check this also. Current who is compiled on the basis of filled in questionnaire received from the biographies, means whose biographies are submitted or collected in that particular source. This authenticates the information given in the source, as the information is given by the person herself or himself. This method also has been drawbacks, since many persons they do not written the questionnaire, and this will result in some gaps in the publication. To reduce this, attempts are made to compile a biographical sketch depending upon the secondary sources of publication. Then comes the treatment. The size of the biographical details of a person varies from a single line to a few pages. In biographical dictionaries, the size of all biographical sketches is uniform. The point to be checked is whether a biographical sketch or essay has been written with adequate weightage as that person deserves. Then comes the arrangement. In many biographical dictionaries, entries are arranged alphabetically according to the person. There are some biographical sources which are arranged according to the subject, like India's Who's Who. Then comes the item of information. Usually the items of information which is found in a biographical source are name, pronunciation of the name, highest qualification, present position. So, in this case the details related with the person are generally covered in items of information. A few entries may be checked to see if information has been provided to all the items uniformly in all the entries. Then comes the indexes. These biographical sources, they are generally arranged alphabetically and they are usually not providing indexes. If they are arranged otherwise, means other than alphabetical order, index is needed in these publication. At times geographical index, chronological index are provided with these publication. Some special features are also there in these type of biographical sources. Sometimes they provide a photograph or a portrait or a sketch of the person along with his or her biographical details. Apart from this, some biographical sources provide list of abbreviations, who's who of the royal family of the country, from where the publication originates, etc. All these add value to the biographical source. In case of biographical source, updation is also very necessary. There are some biographical sources which are appearing annually. They are being updated regularly. Other biographical sources are updated after long intervals. As a result, information contained in them is often outdated. So, we have to see all these things. It has already been said that no biographical source is comprehensive enough. Hence, while purchasing a single biographical source for all the users, this need might not be fulfilled. That is why big library, they procure large number of biographical sources. So, this way we need to see all these publications one by one, because at some point of time they are having some different special features or limitations or some criteria for evaluation. So, these reference sources needs to be checked before procuring them for the library users, and we have to follow this checklist religiously for these reference sources. Thank you.